Part 2.
Oh.
Crimson Flower.
Really?
Guardian Moon. The Master Tactician. Having crushed the Alliance's army and captured the Great Bridge of Murden, the Imperial Army prepares to attack Deirdre, the Alliance's base of operations.
So, really, there's not going to be a meeting at Gronder Field? Are we skipping that? Because if... There's no way that's going to happen because we're going to Deirdre. If we capture Deirdre, Claude's got to be there. I honestly had some time, you know, all that time I was... Oh, we can actually use a month now. All that time...
Professor, what is your opinion of Claude? I can't help but wonder what sort of impression he made on you.
I had all this time to... Basically, once Edelgard told me she had to defeat Judith, I basically... She was dead then, I figured. I got a little hope with the bridge, but... Basically, I've been saying I had a month to think that Judith was gonna die here, so I have been preparing myself. I imagine you want to know from a tactical standpoint what his moves will be, huh? He'd be a good king.
Interesting. I've never thought of him like that. However, I know you have a keen eye for potential.
I know you didn't because you tried to kill him and Dimitri in the beginning of this game.
After all, as leader of the Leicester Alliance, he has managed to protect his entire territory all this time.
He don't want beef. Like, it's not that hard.
Since the beginning, territories within the Alliance have been split between those who support the Empire and those who oppose it.
Like, he came here for peace.
Claude has been acting as an intermediary between the two, essentially keeping the Alliance pacified. As both sides are of equal strength, he's created a situation in which they've all agreed to avoid fighting each other and causing undue bloodshed. By carrying on as though the Alliance is united, he's minimized the Empire's influence there.
It's quite impressive how well his bold scheme has worked out. However, he is walking on thin ice. One wrong move and the Alliance will shatter.
I mean, we're coming, so...
Speaking of Claude, Your Majesty, we should not delay in our invasion of the Alliance. It would seem that Claude has some fresh scheme up his sleeve, to no one's surprise.
I mean, yeah, we started attacking the Alliance. Like, things change.
Is that so?
Yes. The people of Deirdre have suddenly found it difficult to leave or enter the city.
What?
We can safely assume he is preparing for battle, but I am certain his plans extend beyond that as well. Do you not think we should take Deirdre at once?
Oh. Oh, I get it. I get it. It sounded like he was using his citizens as shields for a second, but no. That's not what's happening.
Deirdre, the aquatic capital. A city floating on the ocean certainly poses a challenge. Since it's deep within Regan territory, we haven't had the opportunity to attack it directly.
Do you have some sort of plan?
However, now that we have control of the Great Bridge of Murden, our situation has changed drastically.
So we don't have any more opposition? We can just walk to Deirdre?
They can no longer expand their supply line into the Empire, and so we can finally attack Regan territory.
House Regan is not only Claude's house, but also the flagship of those who oppose the Empire within the Alliance. If House Regan falls, the other Alliance lords will be tripping over themselves to join us. That is why we cannot fail to take Deirdre.
That seems difficult.
Fair enough. Claude will certainly be a difficult opponent. The leader of the Alliance has had many things said about him. They say he is unbeatable in a battle of intellect. I hear they call him the Master Tactician.
Not in the mood, Ingrid. You know, I can't exactly rule out that that is what Claude's doing, but it doesn't make sense from a character standpoint. Why would he get upset with Edelgard if he's doing the exact same thing and using the citizens as shields? Would it make sense? But what Hubert said is that there's a difference between your citizens are being kept in town and citizens are finding it difficult to enter or leave. Hubert said it's more so he's preparing for something. And the difference is we weren't on the Alliance doorstep, right? Like, right now we just took out the bridge. And we're hearing reports that the citizens are finding it difficult to enter or leave. That obviously just means he's preparing for something, and obviously it means we're coming, right? So from my perspective, he's just preparing his defenses. That's all. If we get there and find that the citizens are still being kept in town, then that's a different story. And I mean, no matter how I look at it, that doesn't seem like Claude. Like, I feel like Claude thinks of himself more as the king of Almyra, so he's doing what's best for the Almyrans, which in theory would be what's best for the Alliance as well. But well, anyways, let's talk to the team. Let's see if Leonie's near me right now. I'm gonna get all the facts I can from everybody else. If I get the sense that, well, we'll see.
The tide of war is clearly favoring us, but Claude refuses to surrender.
Because we took the bridge of Murden?
I wonder why that could be. I think you're probably right. I suppose even the very powerful can be irrational at times.
That doesn't make sense, though. No. Why am I even entertaining this? That doesn't make sense. I'm gonna assume that this Marianne doesn't know Claude, for one. Like I just finished saying, he gave Dimitri the Alliance. His stake to keep the Alliance, to rule the Alliance, isn't that high. No, that doesn't make sense unless you're telling me he's a completely different character now. And if that's the case, then what is this route? If at the very least, Claude isn't gonna stay the same. Like, everyone changes just because I decided to go with Edelgard? No. That doesn't make sense. I need more input on that. Like, sure, I'm not saying that Claude is not impossible of acting irrational, but okay, first off, if the Agarthans are still with us, then anybody who knows the slightest bit about, but then there's Dimitri and his eye, like Dimitri literally doesn't have an eye patch, which means he didn't go on a rampage, any of that. Okay, let me just...
Do you ever regret taking the path you did?
Yes.
I guess doubts and regrets just come with being human. Whatever path you choose going forward, I'll follow you without question.
So,
To tell you the truth, I used to be a Knight of Ceros. But at some point, I just couldn't follow the Archbishop anymore.
Fair.
I ran away in secret and decided to join the Imperial Army. When I found Alois here, it made me feel much better. It meant I'd made the right decision. Ever since that day you disappeared, the Archbishop has been completely different.
Of course she has.
She started laughing as if she was possessed and spouting complete gibberish.
Uh-huh. Okay, no. Nope. I'm already gonna say, I was honestly worried about this. If part of the reason I wanted to play this route is what would make the Black Eagles that I met that were fighting against us seem very convinced in their cause. But this leaves so, like, all the gray areas seem like they're being removed in the sense of characters are now being portrayed as the worst version of themselves, while Edelgard is being portrayed as the best version of herself. I mean, let me say, it's not that I can't see Rhea. Let me say this. Not that I can't see Rhea doing that based on the events that have happened. But if anybody tries to use that as proof of something, as I kept saying, Rhea has had the... We betrayed her. And from her perspective, there was no reason to do that. One thing I should point out, the biggest reason that people have been telling me is a reason that Edelgard herself has not mentioned on why I would betray Rhea, and that is that she was using us to bring back Sothis and it would essentially kill us. Edelgard never mentioned that once. So from Byleth's perspective, there's a lot less of a reason, unless you're telling me Byleth automatically assumes that that is what Rhea was gonna do, but there's been no indication that that was the case. That would be a game-changing moment. But now, someone out there who could very well just be Nemesis is working with someone who just tried to grave rob her area. Like, it makes sense that now Rhea is the Dimitri. Of course. It's not like we just said, Rhea, I want to hear her out first. And Edelgard got away, and then Rhea was angry with us. No, that's not what happened. We straight up said, Rhea, we're standing against you now. With the very sword that you gave us and you trusted us to hold on to, and the very heart that saved our life.
We're gonna go up against Claude next? I haven't seen him in forever. Wonder how he's been.
Again, I'm not trying to excuse her actions. I'm just trying to say I see how she went crazy. Though I don't feel like this should be, like this proves anything. Like, this is the actions after the war has started, you know?
I chose this side because I believe in you, Professor. But it's not like I got anything against Claude.
Were you close?
Of course! Claude was the kind of person who would be instantly friends with anyone.
Yeah, you don't say.
I don't mind so much that we gotta fight him. I just hope he doesn't get killed.
Did I miss anybody? No, just Bernie.
Claude. Which one was he again? Oh, right. Yeah, of course I remember him.
I would think at the very least, Bernie, you know what Dimitri and Claude are based on, them being leaders of enemy nations.
It's just, I can't picture his face.
That's fair.
Don't remember what he looks like. I'm not sure if I ever knew. Oh well, he's just another enemy now, isn't he? What? Am I not supposed to say that?
I never fought Bernie. Ever. So I don't know how I would have faced her in the other routes, but interesting. I feel like I need to say nothing else. Let's just move on. Miritza.
What is it?
Just want to chat a bit.
I have no words for you. I have blades.
And if you wish to cross them, I'll be more than happy to. Although you may not be. I was told not to, however. So I will hold off until the war ends. I
Alright.
have a favor to ask.
That's interesting. Huh. Only with him? I wonder if I should show that on camera. Okay.
So, Goneril's troops have entered Deirdre.
Yeah.
Oh, hey pal. Didn't see you there. Guess I was lost in thought.
Can imagine why. Yep.
You're a quick one, Professor. I caught wind that Duke Goneril sent Hilda to Deirdre. She's the sister of my buddy Holst. I can't let her die.
What
I
the
won't.
heck?
Gah, this is a terrible situation.
Why not send Holst? The Alliance is in danger then.
Got a favor to ask.
He doesn't exist. That's the only reason why.
Big brother always gets so fired up. Better keep an eye on him.
That's valid.
Oh, sorry. I was just talking to myself.
Oh, you weren't talking to me.
I hear you're heading out to Deirdre. Good luck with the battle.
Thanks. Thanks.
Lately, the Kingdom and the Knights of Seros haven't made any significant moves. I don't suppose they're going to stand by and watch while we attack Deirdre, though. That's why I've doubled our guard and instructed them to be extra vigilant.
Why did they not attack in the 5 years?
I will keep Garreg Mach safe. It is my duty and responsibility.
That's what I'm saying. If Rhea's really that crazy, why wouldn't she attack? She had 5 years with Dimitri's help. The only...
Oh, hello there, Professor. Did you need something from me? It doesn't look like you're wounded or anything. You just looking for someone to talk to?
Honestly, I'm just checking on all of you. No.
Come on now. You don't have to be shy. Helping you feel better is important to me.
Thanks, but...
Whether it's physical pain or worries of the heart, you can come to me for anything, Professor.
You can't really do much for me right now, Manuela. Appreciate the thought. Lawrence?
Now that we've seized the Great Bridge of Myrden, House Gloucester is comfortable aligning itself with the Empire. The path to Regan lands lies straight before us. Our clash with Claude draws nearer by the moment.
Having second thoughts?
Not at all. On the contrary, I look forward to it. My old rival will be a worthy test for me. I know Claude better than anyone. He is a schemer. No doubt he has some trap for us in mind. Let us be vigilant, Professor.
It's like Ferdinand and Knight are here.
This. Hey.
Oh, don't tell me. I don't even want to talk to you. But I should. That's not gonna happen. Like, it would make sense, but he's not gonna be there.
If you travel east from the Alliance and cross Fodlan's throat, you enter the land of Almyra.
Yeah.
House Goneril's territory touches the eastern border of the Alliance,
Yeah.
tasked with keeping watch over the Almyra.
Yep. Whatever.
I have been wondering something. If I had not been your student, where would I be right now? Who would I be? Do you ever think about that sort of thing, Professor?
Like, what if I led a different class?
Ah, so you do think about such questions. You can never find answers, though, right? We cannot turn back time, so there is no way to go back and try a different path.
In theory. In theory. Lysithea?
Without the support of the pro-imperialist lords, the Alliance is greatly weakened. Even so, I don't feel great about all this. We're gonna be fighting Claude. We can't. You're right. Claude has such unusual strategies for toying with his enemies. Even with you here, this battle will be very challenging.
I don't know what to think about all this.
Professor? I'm happy when we win battles, and I'm always relieved when our friends make it back safe. On the other hand, it's hard to watch the enemy die. Even worse when it's someone you know. Perhaps it would have been better if I'd just stayed with the opera.
Perhaps.
No, Professor. I refuse to regret my past decisions. Now you just have to lead us to victory, so everyone else can let go of their regrets too.
The wrong person to talk about this right now, Dorothea.
Didn't they used to call Claude the Master Tactician? I want a nickname too. Maybe I'll get one if I can defeat him at Deirdre. I'll come up with a plan that'll beat his and earn a nickname for sure.
5 years ago, most of the people involved with the Church in the Empire moved to the Eastern Church in Alliance territory.
What?
I've been hearing rumors that the majority of those have now gone to the kingdom capital, Verdiad.
Why would they go to the Eastern?
The Eastern Church has no military force of its own, so they must be sensing that the Alliance is weak and fleeing.
Okay. Annette.
Deirdre, huh? I've always wanted to go there. In Fargus, most of the towns are pretty much glorified fortresses. So, to hear about a place called the Aquatic Capital, it just sounds so elegant. Let's go for a leisurely visit someday, promise? You know, after the war is over.
I won't be going back there if I just conquered it.
What a professor. I think you should be made aware of a certain group working with the Imperial Army. They are the same lot that invented a technique to turn monsters into war assets.
Uh-huh.
It's quite obvious their trick draws on the power of the crest stones, but there is something more to it than that. Some secret I have yet to decipher. I suppose I need to better understand what kind of people they are. Who are they? What do they want? For her part, Miss Edelgard is cooperating, yet does not hide her hostility towards them. I suspect we should prepare, in case the day should come when we must combat these strange people.
This is so weird to me. Like, real talk, this is so weird to me. With all that would have been just a giant hole that I would have been questioning about the entire time.
5 years ago, during the attack on this place, you allowed me to join your side.
I did, I suppose.
Since then, I've risen through the ranks. And now I'm a general leading my own army.
You weren't already?
In this invasion of the Alliance, I've been entrusted with maintaining the supply lines and keeping the Goneril territories under control.
Oh, let me guess, you're gonna fight Holst.
That's why I won't be accompanying you to Deirdre. Please look after Lady Edelgard.
She'll be fine.
The Gloucester and Ordelia houses have territory in the southern regions of the Alliance. Everyone knows they support the Empire, so they won't get in the way of our armies.
Yeah. Though, you know what's weird about that as well? The reason it seemed, because this is Count Gloucester we're talking about, right? He's an opportunist. The reason it seemed like he was doing that, well, it seemed like the entire alliance was, well, at least the higher ups were, like, Lysithea made it seem like House Ordelia just had no choice, right? The Empire was next to their borders, and same thing with House Gloucester. But I could see House Gloucester teaming up with the Empire in a world where Fargus is basically gone, or, you know, about to be, and it's just the Empire versus the Alliance. You know, for his sake, you know, it's like, oh, well, why not team up with the Empire? But in a world where the Church of Seros, the Knights of Seros are around, Rey is still good, the Kingdom is still good, and the Alliance is untouched, the fact that the Alliance is splitting is just so much harder to believe for me. Especially when, like, if some of the nobles legitimately agreed with Edelgard, that's one thing. But it's Count Gloucester. Dude's a scumbag. Anyways.
I thought I was ready for this. But it's not easy to fight against my old schoolmates. I was in the Golden Deer House, so I have a lot of memories with them.
Yeah, I know. It's hard for me too.
Really? It is? I wish that we could resolve this without violence. Then again, precisely because they're old friends, I wouldn't leave this to someone else.
I feel that.
I have to assume responsibility.
Yep. I feel that, Ignatz. I will face them. Myself.
Claude, eh? He always was sharp among his peers. Never let himself get caught up in conventions. Well, he wasn't typical in Fodlan.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Rhea and King Dimitri. I'd stay on their good sides, for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, if that's the only way forward, it can't be helped.
Dadgummit, Shamir. Dadgummit.
Professor?
I chose right.
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. Deirdre is known as the aquatic...
I know.
In times of peace.
I know.
I'm from Alliance lands, but I'm only a commoner. The idea of fighting Alliance nobles isn't exactly losing me any sleep.
That's fair.
Fighting old friends, though? That's something else. No, I'd better clear my head. Captain Gerald used to say a mercenary has to be thoughtless. Guess I finally get what he meant.
Yeah, you're a bit more emotional compared to somebody like Shamir. Though, still the beast. All the same. Petra?
Since the past, I have learned much of the language of Fodlan. But speaking the Fodlan language still gives me difficulty. I can understand, read, and write with nearly perfection now. But understanding and speaking are fruits of a different color.
That's part of your charm.
I have gratitude for you, Professor. I hope that I will have fluency one day.
Linhart?
I never do get used to the sight of blood. It always makes me feel as if I might faint. I suppose I've told you that, though, yes? I have no idea how you cope with it. I hope this war ends soon. I dislike being lightheaded because other people are bleeding everywhere. It's all a great deal of bother, but I will do my part, of course.
If I can arrange for it, you shouldn't have to take out another person, Linhart. I mean, I have so many other ways to do that.
Flowers are so resilient, aren't they? Despite the war going on outside the monastery, here they are blooming beautifully.
I suppose.
I hope we get to see more kinds of flowers when the weather warms up.
But Mercedes, they are in a protected environment.
The Alliance troops were nothing to turn a nose up at. They were pretty strong, and brave, too. Our next target of attack is Deirdre, the Alliance base. Better stay sharp, even if we do have superior numbers.
Okay, Ingrid.
Judith of Daphnel, you are a force to be reckoned with. You will not be forgotten.
I think you're the only one thinking that, Ingrid.
In another life, I might have fought by her side.
I understand the sentiment.
It's a harsh truth, but it's the truth nonetheless. We can't change the past.
Alright. Now, the main two.
In order to defeat a formidable foe, you must first learn who they are. How much do you know about the Alliance?
You don't need to know.
The Leicester Alliance unites the feudal lords of that region. It holds regular roundtable conferences where they vote on their policies. However, only the 5 great lords are permitted to vote. Duke Goneril, Count Gloucester, their titles were originally granted to them by about 300 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I know. Hubert?
So we've somehow managed to take the Great Bridge of Murden.
Somehow.
That means House Gloucester should now be ready to join the fold more formally. We've blown a major hole in Claude's plan to preserve the Alliance. We should press on to Deirdre before he has the opportunity to adjust his strategy. I have a request for you.
Okay. So nothing relevant from Hubert. What about you, Edelgard? Anything?
Professor? I wish we could settle all of this before the fighting begins, don't you?
What do you mean?
I wish it dearly, but few others feel that way.
What do you mean?
They fight in a bloody battle, take countless lives, and then finally come to understand defeat. They refuse to admit when they're beaten, and they keep it up until they've been utterly defeated. Of course, I understand that sacrifice is inevitable. But if they're going to surrender after being defeated anyway, why raise a weapon in the first place?
Wait.
I wish we...
So, from your perspective...
They refuse to admit when they're beaten, and they keep it up until they've been utterly defeated. Of course, I understand that sacrifice is inevitable. But if they're going to surrender after being defeated anyway, why raise a weapon in the first place?
I get what you mean. So basically, Edelgard is saying that... Basically, like the soldiers, in theory, if, you know, the battlefield wasn't cleared, the soldiers who were remaining, it's like Edelgard saying, if you're defeated, you know, why don't you just... I mean, one, I think it's a tough call to determine when an army is truly defeated, you know? If people believe that they can come back. I think if they truly... Well, I'm no soldier. So... But I have seen, you know, there have been many times where people surrender. I think what she's trying to imply has to do with Claude in particular. Saying that... Well, no, not Claude. She's saying, like, it's the nature of a warrior, I think. Like, I think a very good example was, there's a guy in the kingdom. Was it Count Rowe? Or did he work for Count Rowe? I forgot what his name was, but who Ash was with. And he knew he was gonna die. He just wanted to go out in a blaze of glory. There's a bunch of reasons why people take up a sword, but basically Edelgard is saying, try to preserve as many lives as possible. I think it's hard for me to put into words right now, especially in the state that I'm in, but I
wish we could I wish it dearly, but few others feel that way.
Like, obviously the best way I think would be a surrender. Selling things for fighting, or, you know, some type of way with saying, we have more forces than you do, you should just stand down. I mean, if it's anything like before, Claude would expect the Empire to attack and send word for help from Dimitri. Oh man. Alright, well anyways. Let's go to the Abyss and finish this off. Happy?
You know, I've always wanted to see the world. That's why I left my village. And here I am, traveling to all these interesting new places to kill people. Not what I had in mind. Maybe I'll find some time to admire the scenery. Though people might get mad I'm not taking this silly war seriously. Oops, that was close. Almost sighed.
Silly war indeed.
Oh, hello, Professor. I doubt you recognize me, but I work for Lord Hubert. He has stationed me here to ensure that the church does not attempt to make use of this place.
I see.
Thus, I'm blending in with the residents here, strictly confidentially, of course.
That's a good move, I suppose. But Yuri's got this place.
The army runs you ragged, marches you from place to place, prodding you to fight. They promised me 3 meals a day. They'd have to give a lot more than that to get me to sign on. I'd rather starve down here than deal with that.
That's fair. I think a lot of people would think that way. Constance?
The Great Bridge of Murden is ours. The Alliance may be composed of powerful nobles, but their power is directionless and thus wasted.
They didn't expect to be attacked.
Though the Empire was no better before Lady Edelgard ascended the throne. Indeed, my own house fell, due in part to its inability to wield power properly.
Though I guess if you can say they weren't united, that's fair, but directionless?
What more could Hubert possibly want from me?
Oh, speaking of. What'd he do?
He's been pushing me too damn hard. Said that the only way to win over the Alliance Lords is with my help.
Really?
All grousing aside, it's not the end of the world. If it helps us win, I'll do whatever it takes. I wouldn't have signed up for this if I wasn't getting something out of it.
Why does he think Yuri's help? The only way to win them over is with Yuri's help.
Let me tell you.
While we're at it, there are some documents in here that I read. I actually read all these a while ago. Right and I was making that thing about Rhea. I recorded my reactions and everything. There were some interesting things that I found out, but now's not the time. I guess I'll end off with this. I just wanna... I said before that I need some time. Obviously, when I killed Judith, I'd be upset. But what I'm upset about, honestly, right now isn't Judith. I mean, it didn't help things, sure, but it's... Hubert started this saying that the Agarthans were actually still working with them. That was a change that I felt would be big enough if the Agarthans weren't with them. That would explain some of the odd stuff that's happening. But if the Empire has been working with the Agarthans all this time, that means all the stuff that they've been doing, we don't hear about. Furthermore, it makes even... Because that was the reason I thought Rhea... Who captured Rhea? It was the Agarthans. And yet somehow, with my help, Rhea gets away? Like, I guess, honestly speaking, what I was hoping for with this route is I wanted Edelgard's side. What I'm frustrated on is that I no longer feel like I'm getting Edelgard's side in the war. I feel like I'm getting a different war entirely, where things are going the best way for Edelgard. Whereas I didn't get that feeling in the Golden Deer. In the Golden Deer, I just felt like everything was just a tragedy, right? Once we finished what we needed to do, it was just silence. So many of the students that we cared for, that we got to know, they fell. Claude, we're not even working on our main objective, right? Our main objective was peace, and yet we were involved in that war. But in this case, it's like all the stuff I was questioning. What does the Black Eagles think about Edelgard keeping Rhea under wraps? How did Edelgard make her axe? Where did... Like, the knights being gone for so long, you know, that was also because they were searching for Rhea. They know where she is now. They're with the kingdom, right? The whole situation, the deadlock in Foltland, was due to, like, all these forces that were against the Empire in disarray. But now they're stronger than ever, and yet still, they couldn't defeat the Empire in 5 years? It's not what I was hoping for. It's something completely different. Like I said, what I was hoping for is Edelgard would be the way she is now, but events would still, like, when we hear in the other routes, Rhea has been captured. We don't know how. In this route, we see how that goes down. We're with Edelgard, we actually fight Rhea, and then Edelgard has to explain the situation to the Black Eagles and convince them to stay, where, yes, we've defeated the Archbishop, but the Kingdom and the Alliance still need to be dealt with. They don't know where Dimitri is, you know? And then after Edelgard defeats Dimitri and Claude, then we probably go to Deirdre, and then, because, you know, Dimitri could fall at the Battle of the Eagle Line. Maybe both Dimitri and Claude fell there. And then Edelgard marches on. Well, actually, I think it'd be more fitting for Claude to fall at Deirdre. Then Edelgard marches on and says, all right, now we have to defeat the Agarthans, takes down Cornelia, and then, oh, I don't know exactly how it will go. I hadn't thought all that through. I'm just saying, at the very least, I thought the Battle of the Eagle and or the battle at Gronder Field was a constant in all 3 routes. If we go face Claude now, that means that that's not going to happen. I thought that was like the whole point, you know? You have the battle pre-time skip, then post-time skip. It's supposed to show you, like, Edelgard has a scene there. Does that not happen? Like, does that only happen in the Kingdom, or in the Blue Lion and Golden Deer route? Like, it's supposed to show the feeling of the war, I feel, perfectly. In fact, is it somehow no Conquer Deirdre? If that doesn't exist, well, yeah, how could it? Because Dimitri has his iPad. This is so different. All right, look, I gotta think about some things. I gotta really think about some things, because I know if my words aren't perfect here, like, I can't just react like I've said. I have to be on my P's and Q's. And either way, I think now I should probably call it. I think anything else I say, I should just wait till I have some time, analyze the facts, and see where I stand. Though, one more thing. No paralogue? Okay, so there's no reason for me to wait for you all. I can grind some supports, and then we'll see. So with that being said, this has been Blade. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. And now it is time for the question of the day. And just to confirm, because I feel like my thoughts were kind of all over the place, but just what I expected after having gone through this. When we first got to post time skip, I was confused as to why Rhea was still around, because I knew that that would drastically change the war. And my response was, if Edelgard wasn't working with the Agarthans, they wouldn't be there to help her capture Rhea, and therefore, you know, that would make sense of how she could live. And that was a theory that I was going with, and I was okay with that. But then, upon getting information from Hubert, we realized that that wasn't the case. Which brought me back to my initial question, because that's quite a big change, and many things I wanted to see literally completely Edelgard's side as she was going through the war. Not only does it seem like we might not get that, but some changes might have happened to the other leaders as well. And normally I wouldn't have had a problem with that, but this is, I think, a consequence of people commenting throughout the playthrough about Edelgard's route. Therefore, I had certain expectations, and especially when people were calling me biased on the other routes, I was thinking, okay, well, I'm definitely going to see Edelgard's side on this route. But it seems like the developers just kind of moved away from that entirely, because there were things that I wanted to know that it seems like we'll never get that answer. I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, just, you know, my preference, at least for right now. You know, maybe it'll change once I finish the route, but I would have liked to have seen the war from Edelgard's side that we already knew. But once again, just please be patient with me as we're moving through the Alliance. We can discuss things later when I'm more open, and I honestly will have more information at that point as well. So I've already seen comments on people saying, you know, a little bit too much. I know it's hard, but trust me, that will be for the best. We can talk as much as we want later on, but just for right now, it's not the best time. Of course, I won't stop anybody, but I'm just saying, if you want me to look at the route in the best way possible, that's what I would recommend. So with that being said, I'm kind of asking a different question to kind of get away from all of that, and just ask, what's your favorite color? Don't mean anything by it, just was thinking about the episode, and I was like, what's something that I can ask, and figured, why not ask about favorite colors? So with that being said, I am a lot more calm next episode, because it's actually been over a month since between this episode and next episode, so had a lot of time. But please post your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you all next time.